Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is The Amateur, where we're here to talk life, hobbies, politics, ideologies, what have you. And on today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the short video clip of the confirmed nominee Ketanji Brown's refusal to answer what is a woman. But I do want to say I am back from my brief hiatus from making YouTube videos. I had a really extreme shift in my schedule temporarily, which is why I haven't posted for a while. So hopefully it will. I'm hoping to get on to a little bit more of a consistent schedule in posting. But yeah, so I know that I'm behind on a lot of news, and I know that in social media and especially YouTube realm, like if you're not on top of it, top of the news that's coming out, you're going to miss those big mainstream pushes where something is trendy and you'll fall behind. But I don't know, this channel is mainly an outlet for me to push my thoughts out and have discussions and those back and forths with the conversation that we have in the comment section. So it's what it is. So I know I'm a little behind, but I'm here to give my thoughts on this, and I'm sure that there are things that have already been stated on this subject, but I might just be saying it again, and maybe, I don't know, someone else will listen to the words coming out of my mouth and be like, yeah, or change their mind from it, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll watch the video clip.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah,
I can't.
you can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not
believe
a
the
biologist.
meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the
All right.
law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.
Okay, so at this point, I think we all know that Ketanji Brown is now a confirmed nominee for the Supreme Court. She's expected to be taking over for Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, I believe, one of the Democratic or liberal, whatever, however you want to call it, even though they're supposed to be apolitical, so they shouldn't even really be affiliated. Besides the point. Anyway, supposed to be taking over for Justice Breyer, who's supposed to be retiring at the end of the term. I don't really know what that means. I would assume it means like the end of the fiscal year, which is in about like September, October, whatever, and not the end of the presidential term. But that's the case. It's supposed to be this big historic moment because she's the first Black woman. But she doesn't know what a woman is, or she can't define it, or she refuses to provide a definition, which is the problem. And you see how she says, well, I'm not a biologist, I can't define woman, but that in and of itself denotes that it's a biological issue and nothing to do with like social constructs or anything of that nature, which I find really, really funny because I was just having this super long it wasn't inconvenient, but the super long comment thread under one of Blair White's videos, and it was just pretty much discussing how Blair White wants to make sure that the trans, or the understanding of what trans is pretty much gate-kept or actually defined, so that people know when you say trans, this is what we mean when we say trans, versus when we say blah, 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 this is what we mean. So pretty much saying like for Blair, someone who identifies as non-binary is not the same as a trans person. And so just, again, this super long comment thread, and it was just, my patience was so worn thin. But I still think that it's important to have those conversations. Unfortunately, like, we're reverting millennia of human history for the whims of less than 1% of the entire human population, but that's neither here nor there. But again, it's the fact that this is a Supreme Court justice, or soon to be Supreme Court justice, cannot provide a definition for woman, which I believe is pretty important, just even in the realm of judicial law and being Supreme Court, because that part of the understanding of how the law ought to be applied is to understand the terms and definitions of what is even being discussed. I think you'll see it in the comment sections of other videos talking about this, as far as with how are you supposed to be defending women's rights and you don't know what rights are supposed to be defended, or what does that even mean to be defending women's rights if you don't know what a woman is. Like, who are you supposed to be protecting, and things of that nature. But the definition of woman, and I know if you haven't heard, with Matt Walsh with the Daily Wire is supposed to be publishing a book and publishing a movie. That's supposed to be coming out, I think about in June or something like that. Asking what is a woman, which is again a very, very simple term and concept. It wasn't like the category woman, the category man, like those weren't meant to be social issues. It was just literally an observation of the world. And so again, the simple definition is adult human female. All three of those things are necessary to define woman. A woman is an adult, as if a woman is not an adult, but is female and human. She is a girl. If a woman, which is not what women, were an adult and human and male, that would make that person a man. And if the person was an adult and female but of another species, we'll just say of the chicken, that person would be called a hen. So female is not a category that belongs to just humans in and of itself. It was an observation of essentially dimorphic species, even though it goes even before that. I think in flowers, you have the pistil and the stamen. So the pistil, I believe, is the female part of a flower, because that's the part that produces the ova. And then you have the stamen, which is where the pollen comes from, which creates the pollen, or the sperm, the flower sperm, if you want to call it. Can you believe that some people are allergic to flower sperm? It's kind of funny. It's a little funny. But essentially, though, like male and female, like what is it? Female is, again, the part or the thing or whatever that contains or is nature to produce the larger gamete of reproduction. Gamete being the actual sexual part, or the part that can actually create new life or a new person, whatever. And the male is the smaller gamete, usually the one that fertilizes. Small fertilizes the larger gamete. And it looks different in different species. It's not necessarily a determination of function or how well something works, because you'll hear the argument. It's like, well, what if a woman is infertile, or what if they're sterile, and like that denies their sex. And this was part of the comment that I had. And like I don't know if she was serious or not. I'm assuming was a she. The name was Sasha. Don't know if this person was serious or not, but it's like, well, if this person's infertile, they're sterile, they're like, you're saying that by your definition, if they're not fertile, whatever, it's like, no, or else you would say if someone's dead, they're technically not fertile, but you could still identify them as male or female, because it's more than just the reproductive system. Is literally everything on my body, down to my eyelashes, down to my internal intestinal cells, my heart cells, the fingernails that I grow, like all of that is encompassed of my femaleness, because it's like it's literally the nature of my being. Like, I can't be anything other than female. Is what it is. And my parents thought that I was going to be a boy before I was born, so they were really surprised. My name is actually a pretty unisex, spelled differently. But they thought I was going to be a boy. I grew up very tomboyish. I got confused for a boy a lot. One of my earliest memories, like I was 10, I was at the library. I was opening the door, and this man passes. He's like, "Thank you, young gentleman," or "Thank you, young sir." And I was like, I didn't say anything, but in my head I was like, I'm a girl. But so just like thinking that, like, thankfully I didn't grow up in this environment where I would have been tricked or brainwashed or pressured into feeling like I needed to become something that I'm not. Obviously I dress and act a little bit more feminine now. But again, it's just like understanding that femininity and masculinity, while are connected to sex, but it's not the thing itself. So you can be feminine and male, and you can be masculine and male and female, but that doesn't again, they're two separate things, and but you can't understand masculinity and femininity without understanding what it first means to be male and female, because the definitions are tied. But yeah, so no, it definitely is a problem that Ketanji Brown cannot define the woman or provide a definition for that, especially when you're to understand court cases is making sure that you do have that firm and understanding of reality and what it is, and not necessarily, emotions. Emotions are important. I think in court, intent is important, but it is problematic that this is someone that's supposed to be at the highest level of our justice system. Doesn't sound promising. I don't care that she is the first black female. Like, that's irrelevant. But yeah, so those are just my thoughts on that. I don't know if I really added anything new to this conversation that hasn't been said before, but I felt like it was necessary for me to say that. And unfortunately, that my image is important in the social media stream, just because there is a large misconception that you have to look a certain way, or if you look a certain way, you have to think a certain way, which is already problematic. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.